Hey everybody, all of our WPN retailers. I'm Daquan Watson, Trade Marketing Manager here at Wizards of the Coast. Several of you have seen me from previous live streams we've done, but this time I actually have somebody you've probably spoken to but never actually seen.
That's right, that's right. Unless you caught the last one, if you were one of the few that got in for that one there.
That's true.
But yeah, here today to talk about the Ixalan scheduling window and how it is dwindling away to the sands of time.
Yeah, for sure. Let's give everybody a couple of minutes here to kind of get caught up with us. So we'll just kind of sit here, be pretty, you know. But yeah, while we have a moment, let's just really say that, if you haven't signed up, now is definitely the time to do it. You've only got, 3 days left?
Yep.
So you don't want to miss out. It's really, really, really hard to get you guys taken care of if you miss that scheduling window.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, really coming down to the wire. And, keep in mind on this, it never hurts to schedule ahead of time because before the window closes, you're always able to cancel any events you have, reschedule if need be. And even after the fact, if you need to make a minor change to one of the programs you have scheduled, give retail support a call. Generally, they're going to be cool with helping you out with that.
Yeah, and I've been in your shoes before. I mean, you can get really busy on the weekend and just forget it for a ton of different reasons. I mean, there's an infinite list.
Yes.
But yeah, so I always try to make a habit of just the minute I saw it pop up, go in and schedule it.
Yep, exactly. You can do it right now if you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel free.
You got about a minute.
We'll wait.
But yeah, seriously, there's zero reason to wait. It literally just leads to complications and potential issues that are just unnecessary. So yeah, if you get a chance, go right in. As soon as you're done watching us, hop over, open WR, schedule all your events. Please, 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 please.
Yeah. One more note on that. Since we are getting so close to the scheduling window closing here, I'd say more than normal, good idea to check those confirmation emails from scheduling just to make sure it did indeed go through to us.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you're ever wondering, double check, make sure you got your email. If you don't see it, send an email or give us a call immediately. There could be some reason that it just didn't go through for one reason or another, or maybe it did, and, your email demon ate it. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. It can't hurt to get your email updated if need be anyway there.
For sure. But looks like people are kind of coming in here now, so let's get started, actually. So the first thing we want to go over is Open House. It's our newest program that, is geared toward the new players, and it kicks off every season now. This is really the best opportunity to get those new faces in your door. And the biggest thing is don't just run the event, but use it as a way to kind of push the rest of your season. Use it as a way to guide these players into the other programs that may best fit them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big lead-in moment for the next season. And so you're trying to get new players, but you're also trying to excite your enfranchised players, not to mention the fact that you do need your advanced players in there to ideally help out the new guys.
Yeah, and you will have a promo card that's being sent, and we will provide all of the welcome decks that you need to teach players. One of the biggest things, too, I want to highlight is not just teaching people the game, but try to get them interested in Magic and the community and your store and the things you have going on. And then, the other programs coming up throughout the season. It's more than just a one-day event. So let's just really, 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 keep pushing that this is a way to get them in and then guide them forward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the new players coming to this, they're going to have a good time, but likely they're not going to know where to go from there. Right? So it's going to be up to you to make sure that you are pointing them towards something like the pre-release. Magic League is another great soft landing spot for a new player. And of course, for the release, bring them in for that as well.
Yeah, so look at your weekend of September 16th as the way to really bring these new players in and then get them excited about all the cool stuff in Ixalan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and finally, keep in mind you're highlighting not just how cool Magic is itself, but the community that they're being introduced to. This is a place to make friends and develop relationships.
After we get done with Open House, you have a week to lead up to pre-release. And
biggie.
Yeah, that's really our biggest one. It's one everybody gets excited about. You get to see all the cards for the first time, or play with them for the first time. Mm-hmm. And this is going to run just like it has previously. You order your kits will come in, you run your sealed event, and everybody has a great time.
Yeah. Only real new thing for this one is, pirates, dinosaurs, those cool elements that we've been hearing some good hype on so far.
Yeah, those things are really, really fun.
Yeah. And, best piece of advice I can give you on this is keep your events efficient. Make sure you start on time. I mean, especially for players where this is going to be their first exposure to Magic Organized Play. You don't want to make them think, hey, it's always going to be a big, long wait before we start. So, take pre-registration. Make sure both your registration and start times are both clearly indicated so that everything runs smoothly day of.
Yeah, I think you hit on something really important here. with these couple of programs, like you're going to have a lot of players coming into your store, and this is their first exposure to anything as far as organized play. So this is your chance to make a really positive first impression. So everything from having your scorecards available, your printer working, just like every little thing, make sure it's good so that first experience is very, very positive.
Yeah. And, likely you will get a lot of players for this, but still a real good idea to cap it at 3 or 4 rounds. Keep it a clean, efficient event so that players know that there is going to be a set end time for this.
For sure. After we're done with pre-release, we have draft weekend, and this happens on release weekend, and particularly Saturday and Sunday of that weekend. The biggest thing here is we will send you promos that are participation promos, so everybody who drafts gets one. But the biggest thing is making sure that we're pushing play throughout that whole weekend. You already are going to have people who want to rush in and buy product because it's release day on Friday. You're probably going to have drafts that happen on F&M. But then it's kind of like, what do you do after that?
Right.
So this is a way to push that activity through that weekend and get your extra play in, move some extra product, and really boost up your numbers for your store.
Yeah, great opportunity to invite them back after they've come to the event they were already planning on going to. Keep in mind for this one as well, it's one of the easiest ones to sign up for. You're not actually scheduling draft events ahead of time for this. Rather, you're simply opting in to the program in Wizards Event Reporter during the scheduling window here.
Yeah, it's also a really easy sell to your players because they want to crack packs because the set's new, it's exciting. It's also a way to get players to play where they don't need to bring anything. Like they may not have enough cards to build the latest standard deck yet, or, who knows. And this is a way to come in and play where you don't really need anything. You show up, crack some packs, and have some fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. And, the idea behind this is that you'd be able to continuously fire drafts throughout the weekend. And one sticking point that I think is worth mentioning is the fact that, of course, 8 players is ideal for a draft. It gives you those real clean pairings when you're actually running the tournament itself. But it's not actually required. If you're only able to get 5 or 6, that's just fine. You can fire it as a casual event in the reporter.
Yeah, that's definitely something we've seen come up on the Facebook group a few times, where people saying, well, I only got 6 or 7 people, or I got 11 or 12 people, what do I do? It's like, you sit them down and you let them draft. I mean, it's really that simple. Mm-hmm. You'd rather them come in and have fun and have a positive experience in your store and want to return that following week instead of sending them away wondering like, well, if I show up, is the draft really going to happen? So on something like draft weekend, you can literally just keep pushing them all weekend long. So maybe you get 6 that show up right now and they want to draft, great. If you get another 6, 8, 10 that show up an hour or 2 later, awesome. Get those people drafting.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we do have that real easy-to-use draft pass marketing material that you can get off the website. Essentially, it's just a sign-up list so that you can fire them off as soon as they fill. All right.
Then we go into Friday Night Magic. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, we have League, actually.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, so we'll have League kicking off right off on that Monday after draft weekend. Not too much changing about this. There are a few minor changes.
Yeah, the biggest thing is we will still be sending the collection box, but we're asking everybody hold on to those because there will not be one for Rivals of Ixalan coming up. So definitely if your players get one, they want to keep that for next season. Yeah. But we're also sending a promo card this time. So that was something that was requested that we found a way to make work. So everybody's getting promo cards for their players. Mm-hmm. However, we are also trying to push activity. So now if they play 10 matches, then they're eligible to have a promo. Mm-hmm. So it's a way to kind of, first you get them in, you give them the box, they get their packs, they come in and play a little bit, and then this hopefully kind of carries them through a couple weeks longer and encourage them to get those extra couple of games in that they possibly wouldn't have played previously now because they have a reward for it.
Yeah, get that repeat play. A big push behind this is habituating players, getting them to cross that 3 or 4 event line so that they do kind of just start incorporating it into their weekly schedules.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like one of the things you want to do with these programs is get them used to coming back, creating that habit. Because like you said, it takes 3 or 4 iterations of something on a regular basis to really start becoming what we would call a habit. So you want them to have you in their plans for, I'm going to go to my local store on Wednesdays and I'm going to do this thing, So really keep that on a schedule, get them used to coming back and really creating that habit for those new players.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the easiest program that we have as far as running it with your tournament organizers go. Players are going to be self-recording their matches with match cards. At most, a tournament organizer might be, receiving that information at the end or passing out the deck boxes at the beginning. Heck, you could even run this during your event or leading into it or just after as people drop out.
Yeah, this past weekend I visited a store where I saw them before Standard Showdown. They had a couple of hours where they ran League, and they had some players in for that. And then some of their players transition into playing the Standard Showdown event that afternoon. So there's a lot of opportunities for how you can run this and really fit it into your schedule that's best for your players.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, going along with that, keep in mind that this is a real easy one to promote at any events, because not only are you informing them about it, but they can immediately sign up. You know, a couple players drop out of a draft or a standard tournament or what have you. They can immediately get in there with their packs and play each other.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it has more flexibility than any of our other programs, so it's really, really easy for newer players to really just jump in and be part of it.
Yeah. It is worth mentioning about scheduling for this as well. So you are going to be scheduling 4 different entries for this in the reporter. It can be any day of the week except Friday, because just like all our programs, we want to keep it separate from F&M. But again, they don't actually have to play on this scheduled date. Rather, you're simply designating that so that they know they're likely to find other participants in store.
Yeah, then after they come in, we have a question here.
Sure.
It says,
Alex Gaspar, how are we going to report players' matches in league?
Oh, that's a real good question. So you don't actually have to report matches in the reporter. They'll be using their own match cards to do that. All you're going to be uploading to us is a weekly attendance list for anyone that played on that day or the week prior. Generally, the one exception to that will be your very first league day, because there won't be the week leading up to it, so it'll just be folks that show up then.
Yep. Yeah, so we're going to have some changes for F&M this time. So Friday Night Magic, it's our weekly program that's been running for years. We did change up scheduling a little bit this time, so if you want to fill them in on that.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely something to pay attention to. So as you guys have probably seen in Wizards Event Reporter, there is both a scheduling for the September F&M as well as the entire Ixalan season. And there's, I believe, one Friday that kind of overlaps there. Long story short, all you need to do is make sure you have at least one F&M event scheduled for each Friday, both in September and throughout that Ixalan season, and you'll be good to go to receive the max amount of promos for your level.
Yeah, and in the future, you'll only have to schedule F&M with your seasonal materials. This is really a convenient feature. It's going to keep you from having to come back month after month after month and miss that 7th of the month date, and end up having to call retail support. So now you'll be able to do it all at once, schedule it alongside everything else. Hopefully it makes everybody's life a little bit easier. But we also want to point out that we do have different promos this season. So what we're going to have is a series of 3 double-sided tokens. And you'll be able to distribute these as you see fit. I mean, you'll get an equal number of all of them. So you can do one a month if you want to through the season. You can do maybe mix and match them. You can let your players pick. Just kind of whatever you think works for your players. I mean, just be aware that you're getting everything for the full season. There will not be another shipment coming like you had previously for F&M. So everything you get will have to last you from front to back on Ixalan.
Exactly. And, keep in mind for the philosophy for F&M here, this is your event that ideally accommodates players across the entire spectrum, both in skill level, preferred format. It highlights the community and social aspects of the game, and really is just kind of a fun night. Right? It's going to be less competitive than, say, the next program that we have here, which is the Standard Showdown.
Yeah, Standard Showdown, something, again, that kind of creates that weekly play that you want to get. But it is something a little more competitive. This is where people have built decks, coming to grind for these really cool new packs we have. But it really, it's that thing for your more enfranchised players to come and have something to do every week. The other cool part is we've opened it up this season to where you can schedule any day of the week, again, outside of Friday, because that's our F&M night. But you can use it now in a way that's very flexible for whatever your schedule already accommodates. So if you have more players showing up on certain days, or your standard players prefer to come on, say, Tuesday because maybe they're grinding, PTQs on the weekends, this allows you to take care of that. If you have multiple stores in the area that want to run Standard Showdown, maybe you want to use on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and now those players can hit up all your stores. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of options you get now with having that scheduling opened up, which is really cool. But why don't you tell about the packs that we have for Standard Showdown this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, real big change for this one is the Rebecca Gway lands, which if you haven't seen them, you can check them out because we did actually release them for Commander previously. But they're going to be foiled this time around, so, all the better. And they're really beautiful. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that ever since they came out, so another chance to get them out in the wild.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm a little excited about them. I just don't know how I'm going to get a set of them to put into my deck yet. But yeah, it's definitely something I think players are going to be interested in. The other thing, too, is previously we saw some people who had a little bit of trouble scheduling or firing their Standard Showdowns. And one of the things we want to point out is with the quality of the cards being added to the Standard Showdown boosters, and the changes we've seen in standard, there's a real possibility you're going to have more players coming asking to play. So definitely sign up. Make sure you're not missing this and you have the opportunity, because if you miss the scheduling window, we're not going to be able to take care of you.
Yeah.
And right now standard's really awesome. We've been seeing more different or larger variety of decks being played. So this is really a fun time to play.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to kind of give it the nay-no now and then standard kind of blows up in your area a few weeks later, and all of a sudden you don't have it on the books. So definitely a good one to get scheduled here.
Yeah, another thing you'll notice is we've kind of glossed over game day. That's because there is no more game day. So we've moved that to store championships, which will now be at the end of the season, whereas game day used to happen around week 4. This is now going to be on the back end of your season. The cool part about it is it allows you to kind of have this cool wrap-up event. Kind of as things slow down a little bit and you're looking for something to do, it's another way to kind of round your players up and get them to come in. It is something for the more experienced, more enfranchised players, and it's another way that almost can double as a promotional event to kind of remind them, like, hey, bring your friends in, get them to come to open house that's next week, So, and the cool part is we also have some different prizes for it that kind of lead into Rivals.
Yeah, that's right. So we are essentially kind of strictly upgrading the prize support that we have for this program as compared to game day. So those top 8 promos that you're used to with the foil full art, that has now been put into the participation slot. So you'll be getting more of those to hand out. And for the top 8 now, you're going to have some Ultra Pro deck boxes, specifically for those folks that do make it to the playoffs there.
Yeah, and you'll still have a playmat for first place. But the cool part is the artwork that we're using for this set, or for this promotion, is always going to point to the following set. Right. So in this case, you'll be getting your first look at some of the stuff for Rivals of Ixalan, which is really, really sweet. Yeah. So it's something we haven't done before that everybody's really excited about. Hopefully your players are also really excited about this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good cadence because, under the previous path that we had, there was kind of this decrescendo from the release all throughout the season, and then, bam, it goes right into the pre-release again. Now with the store championship as well as the open house, you get a little bit of that hype build again leading into the release itself. Yeah,
like we're saying, it's a really good way to kind of, as things are slowing down, it gives your players another reason to come back instead of just waiting till pre-release. You kind of get a chance to get them in for another event, promote to them a little bit, maybe get some extra sales before having those 2 weeks come up on pre-release. And again, it's another way to kind of boost up your open house, which each event can now cleanly feed to the next one. I think that's one of the things that some of the retailers didn't understand, when we redid our event structure a couple sets ago, is that we tried to create a system that allows the maximum number of players to feed through your store throughout the season. So they're not coming for just pre-release, then maybe you see some people for game day, and then we don't see them again for 2.5 months, right? Like now, you really get them all through the season, and we tried to have a set of programs for everybody, so everyone can participate at different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, much smoother transition between the set releases here.
And as usual, we do still have buy a box. You'll still get your promo for that, but you don't have to sign up for it. Same thing we did for Our Devastation, I believe. Now you'll just be sent to you if you sign up for any of our other programs.
Yeah, exactly. So, we figure you are in the Wizards Play Network. You're probably selling boxes, so not.
Yeah,
not
we
really
want you to sell products.
To have them, right? Cool. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to kind of affirm one more time that because we're so close, you definitely want to schedule as soon as you can on all this. Yeah, 3 days. The sands are falling here. The clock is ticking. And also just be sure to take a look at those confirmation emails so you don't have any feel bad checking what you have scheduled next week.
Yeah, most definitely. Right. Do we have any other questions for any of the programs? Looks like maybe we did a good job telling everybody.
Yeah,
everybody paid attention.
I guess
awesome.
Everything's covered. Obviously, if you guys do have more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments here. We'll be following up. Until the store championship signups from Alexander.
So the store championships will sign up with Rivals of Ixalan. The reason being is that the timing is going to have that product shipped right alongside with Rivals, and that'll be the same way for every future set. Like your store championship will always ship with the next set's material. Really for 2 reasons. One, just the timing, but 2, like we said, the artwork's always going to point toward that next set. And we don't want to have that out in the world too early for a lot of obvious reasons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as soon as you get your kit for the championship, you are going to have a card from the Rivals.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to, keep that hush-hush until then.
Yeah, you still want to build hype the way we normally do, keep people excited, and we also don't want to draw too much attention from the current set. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Yeah, any other questions from you guys? Again, of course, anything that you put in the comments, we'll be following up with shortly. And if you have any questions, you can always call into retail support or, of course, hit me up on Facebook as well.
Yeah. There is another thing, actually. One of the things I want to point out is Sometimes we do send out emails that are reminders for things, or, hey, this cool thing you might want to know about's on the WPN page. Check your emails. Please make sure you open those. We're sharing information we think is very important. Things going to be very good for you. Sometimes just reminders, like in this case. I think we sent some out today to people who are like, hey, you hadn't scheduled draft weekend. You should do that. So just make sure that, that's all updated and you are receiving those, because that's a very important feature.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, you just reminded me, there's one more good thing to know for draft weekend specifically. Right now in the reporter, it's not actually being removed from the list when you schedule it. That doesn't mean that it didn't go through. In fact, usually it will have. You can actually, if you go to the tools and you go to the WPN materials dropdown, you can check to see if you have that on the books.
Cool.
All right.
Looks like we covered everything. There's a lot of stuff going on for Ixalan.
yeah, rock on. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking to you guys soon in one channel or another. But until then, thanks for joining us.
Later.